Mr. Gerald Giam.
Sir, Mr. Gerald Giam has asked about HDB flat owners who concurrently own private properties, and Mr. Leong Man Wai has asked a related question for the parliamentary sitting on the 9th of November. Sir, Singapore citizen households who have fulfilled the MOP or minimum occupation period of the HDB flat may buy private residential property without selling their HDB flat. Flat owners who do not dispose of their HDB flat will be subject to ABSD or additional buyer stamp duty of at least 17% on the purchase of their second and subsequent residential property. As at October 2022, about 3% of HDB flat owners own at least one private residential property. This proportion has fallen by about 0.3 percentage points in the last 3 years. Of these, about 45% are not living in their HDB flats as they've rented out their whole flat. Another 4% of HDB flat owners are renting out one or more bedrooms of their HDB flat. These proportions have stayed stable in the last 3 years. Among the remaining 97% of the flat owners who do not own private residential property, about 13% are renting out their whole flat or bedrooms within their flat. This proportion has also stayed stable in the last 3 years. We note that Mr. Gerald Giam is asking the government to consider requiring HDB flat owners to sell their HDB flats or dispose their HDB flats if they buy private property. Mr. Yip Hon Wing has also called for this last month. We've been gathering views from Singaporeans as part of Forward Singapore, particularly around the social compact on public housing, and will study these as well as other views and ideas carefully.
Mr. Gerald Giam.
I thank the Minister for his reply. Sir, resale flat prices have gone up about 28% in the last 2 years. And this year alone, between January and September, more than 266 flats sold for over $1 million. So this has put resale flats beyond the reach of many Singaporeans, even after factoring in the generous government grants. So the purpose of my question was to discuss ways to moderate resale flat prices so they are more affordable for lower and middle income Singaporeans. And one way to increase this is to achieve this is to increase the supply of resale flats. So since HDB flats are meant for owner occupation, can HDB owners who buy private property in the future be required to sell their flats so that the flats are freed up to be bought by other Singaporeans? I know that the Minister has said that this is under discussion, and I appreciate that, because this will be consistent with the current rule, which requires private property owners who buy an HDB flat to dispose their private property within 6 months of the flat purchase. Thank you.
I've given the member the proportion of HDB flat owners who concurrently hold private property as well as HDB flats. They're about 3%. And of those who rent out their HDB flats, it's a smaller subset of that. All right. Having said that, I've given the member a reply that we study all options and possibilities. You know that we don't discuss cooling measures other than those that have already been issued. Resale flat prices, you're right, they have been going up in the last 2 years for the reasons I've mentioned in the last parliamentary sitting. We've taken measures both in December last year and September this year to cool the property market by moderating demand and let the measures work their way through the market. We're also mindful of macroeconomic conditions going forward, rising interest rates, uncertainty in the economic climate globally, people being more prudent in their home purchases. So those will also have an impact, and we'll need to monitor the market carefully. The member repeats the point about $1 million flats. Indeed, these headline-grabbing prices have caused concern and fueled market psychology, causing people to worry and then hence go into the market. That also adds to the impact we've seen on the resale market. And $1 million flats make up, in the last 2 years, about 1% of all resale transactions. They tend to have very good attributes. I think the member is aware. They tend to be jumbo flats, loft units, high floors, larger units, executive apartments, maisonettes, the 3-room type HDB flats that are legacy terrace houses. Nevertheless, with grants as well as the measures we're putting in place, we want to make sure that the property market remains in line with economic fundamentals. And we've said before numerous times, we will act decisively but carefully to ensure that the property market remains in line with economic fundamentals.